It's Mike Missanelli from it's the Fanatic in Philly, right?
Yes, it is the Fanatic. I'm glad you guys are talking basketball. I'm here to talk Sixers.
Okay, the Fanatic is our sister station, Beasley Media Group. Obviously, Mike does afternoons, right?
Yes.
What time? Why aren't you on right now?
Well, no, I actually midday. I'm 10 to 2 these days.
Got it, 10 to 2.
Yeah, so I was evening drive for a lot of years and then took a hiatus, and they pulled me back in.
And you're here for the week with the Eagles.
Yes.
Another guy whose name ends in a vowel.
Yeah, we can't you can't stop us, right?
No, it's good.
Can't stop us.
We're everywhere.
Absolutely.
So how's your week been?
Very busy. We had a really good day to day with guests, and Philadelphia is out of their minds right now, going to another Super Bowl. You guys, it's old hat to you guys, I know, but going back to the Super Bowl for Philly is pretty mind blowing for people. They're all engaged. And,
do Philly fans still think Sirianni should be fired?
No, they don't. It's funny. I thought he should have been.
Right.
After last year, when you lose 6 or 7 games, you think, okay, he doesn't have control of the team. I mean, what coach can't stop the bleeding? And he didn't. So they decided to bring him back, I think, in large part because Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman loved to find that shiny new toy. And when they hired him, he was the shiny new toy. And to fire him, they would have admitted that they were wrong. So they brought him back. It took like 2 weeks for them to say, okay, he's coming back. And then they wrote it, and they got up to a rocky start. And then all of a sudden the bye week hit, and they decided to change up the way they play football. But let's run the ball. This is what we do. And then they had a discussion with Jalen that hurts about being a better teammate and being more bonded with his team. And like magic, they're in the Super Bowl. It's phenomenal. I know, it's flabbergasting. It's one of the weirdest things I've seen in Philly.
Do you still think he's not a good coach, or did everyone just have it wrong?
Or did you get lucky? I decided I was going to open my 2 eyes to see what transpired. He's doing something right. I mean, I can't sit here and say he's a bad coach. He did a lot of boneheaded things early, mugging for the camera, yelling with fans. I think they really sat him down and said, you got to be more of a professional guy because that's going to resonate with your team and with people that are judging you. And he's done it. So, he's done something with this team that has kept them together. So I got to give him credit for that.
I give the whole Eagles organization credit, Mike. Just because in the Patriots' perspective, these two teams were in the Super Bowl 7 years ago, okay? The Eagles are still a championship contender, and the Patriots are one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league. And Philly did it, the Eagles did it, without Patrick Mahomes at quarterback or one of these transcendent quarterbacks that just keeps you on that level by the very, dint of their ability. No, you did it with a couple different quarterbacks. You got your quarterback in the second round. You changed coaches, and it was really one down year. And meanwhile, since the Patriots and Eagles played in 2017, this is your second Super Bowl, going back for another crack at the championship, and the Patriots are in the dungeon.
Yeah, the general manager gets a lot of credit for that. They stuck to a script, and he believes that you build inside. And their offensive line has been one of the best offensive lines in the league over the last several years. And the defensive line really came along. When he hired Vic Fangio, people didn't really know what to think. He had those problems in Miami. But he been able to put together a totally different defense, by the way. A lot of new people came in. Zach Bond came in. The Kobe Dean blossomed, and then he got hurt, and they found a replacement for him. Jordan Davis has turned into Aaron Donald, for crying out loud. And they got 2 rookies that they drafted. The first 2 guys are starters in the league, and they've solidified what they did on the back end. So that defense ranked number 1. Does it mean anything against a guy like Mahomes? I mean, we'll see. I mean, this guy flips a ball between his legs and makes a completion on 3rd and 6, which defeats anything you're trying to do defensively.
Mike, I want to go back to Hurts. Because, I would look at Hurts and say he's on the field. He's sort of the key to the game, I think, in a lot of ways. But that aside, is he part of the solution in Philly, or is he part of the problem? Do you understand the question?
Is he going to be a reason you win or the reason you lose?
Right, and also it feels like he's always involved in the stuff off the field.
Here's the gap year for them. They don't need him to be a superstar. Now, when you look at the NFL, that's very rare that your quarterback's not going to carry you to this kind of a level. They found a formula where this guy can't be stopped, the running back, and so he doesn't have that pressure on him to make great plays anymore. And he started out turning the ball over. They said, listen, this is the way we're going to play. We're going to keep the risk out of your hands. Now, does that continue? Next year is a completely different year. I mean, who knows whether that kind of style will continue. in the interim, maybe he becomes a better passer. But, a couple of years ago, you're talking about a guy who passed well enough to be an MVP candidate. So, he's hard to figure out. When you look at him, you go, well, he's not a great thrower. But every game, it seems like he makes a key throw for them. And that's been enough with this particular configuration where they have the number one defense and a great offensive line in Saquon Barkley. That's a winning formula. It's not a lasting formula, maybe, but for this year, it doesn't matter if they can beat the Chiefs.
Do you think he resents not throwing more? He made that comment a couple of weeks ago about the straitjacket.
I think he's that was very cryptic, by the way. And he's had a very rocky relationship with Dick Sirianni, and I think that was a little shot at him. And then you have the little shots like, this book thing with A.J. Brown, which is to me so ridiculous. A.J. Brown's passive-aggressive way of saying, hey, I'm not happy. Get me the freaking ball. And so that I think that actually was a good thing that came out of it, that now they're going to focus on him getting him the ball. But again, they're not going to change their script in this game. They're going to run the football, and even if Steve Spagnuolo stops it for a while, there's going to be a time where he doesn't stop it, and that guy busts a 60-yard touchdown, and it just breaks your defense. It takes their heart right out.
So, Mike, give me a minute. Mike Missanelli of the Fanatic in Philadelphia. Give me a minute on the Philly fan. Because I admit I am someone that believes in the stereotypical view of the Philly fan. I think the Philadelphia sports fan is the closest thing we have in the United States to the soccer hooligan in Britain.
Why do you think that?
I'll tell you.
All right.
And so I've covered 20-something Super Bowls. I've been covering Super Bowls since 1999. This is maybe my 23rd, 24th, something like that. So I've been in town with Eagle fans at least 3 times. I used to cover the Bruins, okay? So I've been in Philly many times to cover Bruins-Flyers games. So I've been in the building, the Wells Fargo Center or whatever, maybe even the old Spectrum. I can't remember when they changed buildings. But anyway, been covering this thing. So I've been around Philly fans a lot. It's the only time I feel an undercurrent of violence. And Pittsburgh fans, Chicago fans, New York fans, I feel it can get ugly, but Philly fans, it's the only time I feel I might get hit in the back of my head with a folding chair. I just have that. There's just an undercurrent that exists with the Philly fan that I don't get with anyone else, and so
I feel unsafe.
I think that's a faulty narrative, and it's not because, listen, I know hooliganism, and I rip it all the time when I see it. It happens all over the place. It's more noticed in Philadelphia, which I think is the unfair part about it. And there's this reputation that, oh my God, and so everybody thinks, well, there's this undercurrent of violence. But when you look at other cities, there's been way more violence in other cities and way more incidents. Philly fans can be idiots, but idiots are idiots. There's going to be idiot fans all over the place.
Where else? I don't think they. And I don't want to make light of this because someone just died, right, from falling off a light pole.
He was a gymnast. He was a gymnast for Temple University.
Oh, was he doing tricks off the thing?
I guess he thought that the apparatus, that was the apparatus at the time. That's not a typical crazy. I don't want to make
I just don't want to make light of it because someone did lose their life. Yeah. But Philly is the only town where they grease the light poles, Mike. When the Packers win a championship, they don't have to grease the light poles, and when the Celtics win a championship, they're not. They don't bring out the fire hoses.
Yeah,
it feels like the Philly fan is
I can't explain the climbing the poles and greasing them with Vaseline mentality. But what's ironic about this, Mike, is that here in New Orleans, they kick off a festival by greasing the poles, and they climb up. It's before Mardi Gras, it's what they do. They warned Philly fans not to do it because these poles are old. So on one hand, it's a tradition here. On the other hand, they're afraid of Philly fans, which leads to your point. Everybody's afraid of Philly fans.
They are,
and
rightfully so.
I think if you dig deeper,
it's the only time I feel I'm going to get cracked is when the Philly fans are in, and then there's Philadelphia people.
It's just too easy to latch on to Philadelphia is bad. You have to do a little more research and dig into it and say there's deaths that go on in L.A. and other, there's eminently worse things that happen. Philly fans can be nutty. There's no question. And Eagle fans, alcohol fuels it, and we're not going to stop that ever. But I always like to put it in a box. It's not the majority of Philly fans that do that.
Okay. Anyway, I have fun with it. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it, Mike.
It was fun, you guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Quick, who do you like in the game? Do you like the Eagles, or you think? What do you think?
You know, I look at this line. The line always tells me something. If this line goes down to 1, it's like 1.5. It's not inching down. If it goes down to 1, it means smart money's betting on the Eagles, and then I like them. But I'm withholding. This game is going to be so close. The Chiefs don't lose by a lot of points. So I think it's going to be a close game. And the one thing I look at is that they can hold the Chiefs to field goals. The Eagles can score touchdowns. The Chiefs are really good moving the ball little by little bit down the field. The Eagles have been really good in the red zone. So, 9 points and 3 field goals is not as good as 2 touchdowns. So we'll see what happens.
Mike, thanks again for coming by.
Just before you leave, I like Philly. So there you go.
All right, there we go. I'm on it, though. Good job. The Italians.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.